the Boston Celtics are the NBA's best team.
Yeah.
As we currently stand, the team is 47-12, with an 8-game lead over second place in the East and a 5.5-game lead on the NBA as a whole. That 8-game conference lead is the largest of any conference lead in the last 5 years. They have been the epitome of dominance. Best offense in the league, which is also the best offensive rating in NBA history. Second in the league in defensive rating, being the only team in the top 3 for both. They have a net rating of 10.9, which is the third best in the last 16 years, and the 7th best in league history. They have the second best net rating in Celtics history as well. The only Celtics team with a better rating? The 2008 champions. They maintain the NBA's best home record, best away record, best conference record, best division record, best record against above 500 teams, and the best record against below 500 teams. All of these things are fairly unprecedented in the league, but I think the real question is how have they been so dominant? For starters, the most obvious answer is the structural and positional changes they made in the offseason under the genius of Brad Stevens. They were practically able to get Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis from Marcus Smart, as well as Grant and Rob Williams. Obviously not as simple as that, but in terms of key roster pieces, that is largely the extent of it. It cannot be stated enough how massive those changes were for Boston. After years of not getting it done in the end, management knew it was time for a shakeup, and that they did. Holiday has bought in excellently, playing his typical stout defense while offering playmaking and shot creation when necessary. On paper, it might have been tough for a guy to go from a bona fide second, maybe third option on a title contender to in all reality the 5th option that he is in Boston. However, he has accepted and embraced that role better than we could have imagined. His ability as a point-of-attack perimeter defender is one thing, but the Celtics have even used him at times as a center, just controlling cutters and providing a body in the post when necessary, and he has been more than great while doing it. His versatility is a key factor as to why the Celtics defense is as good as it is. But not just that, his offense has been great. He's averaging 13 points and 5 assists while shooting over 44% from deep. His corner shooting has not just been great, but it's the best in the NBA. He's shooting over 65% on corner threes, the best percentage of any player with at least 50 corner 3 attempts. The other main addition, Kristaps Porzingis, is likely the true factor that has unlocked this team's potential. I mean, what can you really do against a guy that is 7'3", is dominant in the post, a stifling defender, and has the ability to shoot anywhere from beyond the arc? In a vacuum, it's an unstoppable caliber of player, and that's virtually what we've got this year. He's having a literal generational scoring year from the post, averaging 1.39 points per possession in the post, by far the first in the league, and best in the NBA in the last 10 years. He's averaging over 20 points per game, shooting an absurd 52% from the field and 37% from 3. But his defense is also monumentally impactful for the Celtics. Averaging just shy of 2 blocks per game does not give it enough justice, as he's in the 99th percentile for both rim points saved and rim defensive field goal percentage versus expected, which, put in simpler terms, means his rim protection is forcing guys below their average at a rate better than just about anyone else in the NBA. In fact, the number itself is minus 14.4%. Those numbers, for example, are better than or as good as any of Rudy Gobert's 3 Defensive Player of the Year seasons, in which he was known strictly for his rim protection. So combine the offensive skill set of a floor-spacing, post-up dominating 7'3" big man with the defensive impact statistics of a prime Rudy Gobert, and that is what the Celtics have got themselves this season. Obviously, there are other factors as well as to why the Celtics have been so good, such as Derek White, who's having a historic run in terms of shot blocking at the guard position, averaging the most blocks per game for a player 6'4" or less in the last 10 years, with guard block numbers only rivaled by a prime D Wade. His offense has also taken a leap, up to nearly 16 points per game and shooting 47% from the field, 40% from deep, and 90% from the line. Other reasons the Celtics have become such a force in the league are the Jays' willingness to take a slightly diminished role for the betterment of the team. We know that those two guys can put up huge numbers any given night, and even lead the team to deep playoff runs as we've seen year after year. But now, with this caliber of team, the numbers were never going to be the same. Both players are averaging less points, field goal attempts, field goals made, and usage than last year. But again, this doesn't mean that they got any worse by any means, as both players are shooting better from the field and from three this season. For example, Jason Tatum has obviously created a lot of buzz this season around the MVP award. Funny enough, This is statistically a down season for him, but he's creating more buzz for MVP than he ever has before. And it's because the team is winning. Now, whether I think he's deserving of the award or not is a different story. However, I think it should not go unstated what he has done. Simply by accepting a lesser role in the era of statistics is commendable in its own right. A lot of guys are willing to sacrifice wins for stats, but Tatum has shown he's willing to sacrifice stats for wins, which is undeniably a high-quality characteristic that you want in your superstar player, and exactly what this team needs this season specifically. He has been controlling the game at an excellent pace, dishing when necessary, scoring when necessary, and playing his typical excellent roamer defense. But he has shown he can still be that guy that wins you a game when you need him to, which will be vital come playoff time. But this slightly diminished role has allowed Tatum to try new things and hone in on key aspects of his game that makes him the player that he is. This season, he's in the 97th percentile in isolation points per possession and the 99th percentile in post-up points per possession, while maintaining being in the 99th percentile in perimeter shot creation that we're all accustomed to. Not having to carry an absurd offensive load every night has allowed Tatum to flourish in other aspects of his game, and I couldn't think of a more perfect superstar to play the role that Tatum has this year. All of these factors play huge roles as to why the team has been as outright dominant as they have been this season, but the coaching matters as well. The Celtics made some big additions to the staff, getting practically the two most sought-after assistants on the market in Sam Cassell and Charles Lee. Mazzulla's live-by-the-three mentality has had some people irritated, but it's led to the best offense in league history. However, with that style of offense, it's never been about the volume of threes. It's about the processes and how you put them up. 36.1 of the Celtics' 42.3 three-point attempts this season have been open or wide open via NBA's tracking. That is just over 85% of their threes being open or better. These are clear indicators of a good process to set up a shot. They're not just chucking up threes and hoping they fall. That is not and never has been what a live-by-the-three offense is. But a huge aspect in terms of being able to win in the playoffs is versatility and variability. While shooting threes, even in terms of getting the shots up through a good process, has led to this historic offense, defense in the playoffs is different. Having the variability of offensive procedures and play types is key. And to simplify that line of thinking, can the Celtics win when they shoot bad from three? The answer, in short, is yes. This season, when they shoot just 33% or better from beyond the arc, they're 39-3. 33% is nearly 4% below league average and nearly 2% worse than the league's worst perimeter shooting team. Is that even in an off night, the Celtics have shown the ability to win games at an extremely high rate. Part of that is having the level of shot creation that we are accustomed to seeing with this caliber of roster. Both Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are in the top 10 percentile for rim shot creation. Tatum being in the 94th percentile, Brown in the 93rd. And it's not just that. Brown is in the 74th percentile in rim shot making, with Tatum all the way in 91st percentile for the same statistic. Having your two main offensive hubs be guys that can get you a paint bucket at any given time, while also being able to create on the perimeter at a high level, is extremely valuable come playoff time. These reasons have led the Celtics to be purely dominant this season. And the reason that I've used the term dominate so much in this video is because the Celtics have not just been beating teams this season, they have been destroying them. Their current average point differential is plus 10.73, which is 8th best in the history of the NBA. 25% of their wins have been by 20 or more, 7 wins by 30 plus, and even 2 50-point wins this season. There have only been 52 games in league history where a team has won by 50 or more points, and the Celtics have did it twice this season. In fact, this year, the Celtics have as many or more 50-point wins than 14 teams do in their franchise history. To just put in perspective how dominant the Celtics have been, they have spent 32.86% of their time on the court up by double digits, 12.45% of their time up by 20 or more, and 24.05% of their time losing a game. So yes, the Celtics have spent over 8% more time this year up by double digits than they have trailed in a game. At the end of the day, it's quite clear that the Celtics truly have no peers in the NBA at this moment. Ideally, this stays true through the playoffs, but anything is possible then. However, by the day, it seems more and more likely that this is the Celtics team that ends the 16-year title drought and brings Banner 18 to Boston. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the Celtics title chances this season. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video if you enjoyed. But most importantly, have a good one.